RICO, I joined Honda Cars India Limited. In ICAT, it was around 1,300 crores, and in GRC, it was around 1,000 crore investments. Requirement of infrastructure that needs to be created for future to ensure that the fair, ethical practices are, and you bring in very diverse group of people.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanayol, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming industry leaders. We have one such industry giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Ms Pamela Tikku. We welcome you on the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tanay.
With a current role as Vice President and Group Public Affairs at Mahindra Mahindra, she excels at influencing policies within the Indian automotive industry. Her adept engagement with the central government offices, ministries, and state governments showcases her influence in shaping crucial policies such as the FAME and PLI scheme. She actively participates in industry bodies, government test agencies, academia, and international embassies, emphasizing her multifaceted leadership. So, ma'am, could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far?
Thank you, Tanay, for giving such an elaborate introduction about me. So, I am a mechanical engineer by profession, and I have done my mechanical engineering from MREC Jaipur. And after my graduation, I started my career with an automotive component industry. So, it was a time when women could not find themselves in manufacturing jobs, and it was really difficult to get into a manufacturing industry. And that was RICO Auto that gave me the first break in the manufacturing. Although before that I did do a short stint of teaching in REC Srinagar. And after RICO, I joined Honda Cars India Limited. In RICO, my clients were Maruti. I was doing development of components for Maruti, Honda, and that time exports from India had started. So GM exports was happening from India. Honda, it was the launch of the first vehicle. So my role was in vendor development. So I extensively participated in developing vendors, identifying and sourcing options. One of the big initiatives that I undertook under Honda was creating the procurement practices, uh, policies for purchase, how the vendors will be registered. And another thing that I championed in Honda was, localization of key components, which at that point of time, Honda never thought of localizing in India due to cost and quality. Quality was the prime reason. So I will say that I played a very important role in bringing in the expertise from Honda and identifying the sources in India and getting those sources approved. And finally, the localization happened here. Subsequently, I moved to industry association called Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, which is called SIAM. So SIAM gave me an platform to explore the role of regulations, policy, advocacy, industry interface. Some of the key achievements that I can talk of in my stint of 5.5 years with SIAM was working with industry leaders like Dr. Goenka, Dr. Sumantran, Dr. K. Kumar from Maruti, and bringing out various policy documents for industry, which was not available, used to happen earlier. So the emission roadmap, the fuel load roadmap, the safety roadmap for automotive industry, this was all developed during the point of time. Also, that point of in 2002-3, there was a great emphasis on how to build up industry academia relationship. So Dr. R. Chidambaram, who was principal scientific advisor to Government of India, started a program called Core Group on Automotive Research. So the objective was to do pre-competitive research with automobile manufacturers and academia. So before that, it was unheard that two competing OEMs would collaborate on a research project. So Mahindra and Tata worked together on a couple of projects. Ashok Leyland and other Tata Motors worked on a couple of projects. Bajaj Auto and TVS worked on a couple of projects. So those were very inciting and exciting times to see the dynamics of industry, the dynamics of the academia, how to negotiate and arrive at a common agreed ground of working in an area which is as niche as research and development and product development. Then from during that time, the need for creating and having test facilities in India was felt very badly. So Indian auto industry was opening up, so there was need for faster testing, faster certification, and the concept of creating automotive test facilities developed in SIAM, and I'm happy to share that I championed that initiative. And because of that, the government allocated funds for creating automotive test facilities, which started with 1,780 crores. And the project is now completed, and that project has gone from 1,780 crore to 3,350 crores. So it was a multi-location, multi-facility project development. And so when this project was approved by government, so I moved to this special purpose vehicle for project execution. And from there, I started, interacting with global consultants, developing the architecture of test facilities, R&D equipment facilities, and started understanding how the implementation of these facilities in India happens, because these were all equipments which were imported. I mean, there was only one organization in India in Pune which had some facilities, but the ambition was to create a global benchmark facilities in India, not one, multiple, and a very large proving test track in Indore. So from there, I moved to ICAT, which was one of the centers coming up under NATRIP. The objective was to set up facilities, install, train people, run facilities, and get the whole ecosystem of delivering services developed in the center. And also then moved on to as a role of officiating director for two centers under NATRIP. One was ICAT and another was GR. So it encompassed the overall experience of handling people, managing business, getting business, and all the governance issues which are, which an organization faces on a day-to-day basis. And I think I'd like to touch upon that. I joined Mahindra and Mahindra last year as Vice President of Public Affairs. So the role was something very similar. So it was more of governmental relationships, how to do policy advocacy for Mahindra and Mahindra with government and the policies that are coming up. That's all. Thank you.
Ma'am, you have held senior leadership positions at ICAT and GARC. What are some of the major accomplishments you are most proud of during your tenure at these organizations?
So I can say that my tenure in these organizations was very critical. The facilities were, ordered. They had to be installed. People had to be trained, and you had to make business happen. So these centers capacities need to be created both in terms of infrastructure and in terms of manpower training, collaborations for enabling the training of people, enabling the industry to utilize and develop the confidence of using the infrastructure which was being created by Government of India. So it was a very big major accomplishment that I can say. The infrastructure which was to the tune of uh, in ICAT it was around 1,300 crores, and in GRC it was around 1,000 crore investment. So it was very uh, different. First time such kind of facilities were installed in India and set up by government. And it was, government has its own challenges. So you had to follow governmental procedures, you had to follow governmental guidelines for tendering, execution, everything.
Ma'am, what are some indispensable components of leadership according to you?
One of the a couple of leadership qualities that one need to have is to have adaptability to situations. People connect, and you should be able to envisage the challenges or the preparedness of an organization for the future. So it's not that you are running a business today and you are complacent with it, but you have to constantly see how this business is going to be sustained. What is the requirement of infrastructure that needs to be created for future needs? What are the skills that need to be trained for future needs? I mean, if you can see, 3 years, 4 years before, we hardly talked about having electric vehicles in the country. Now each and every manufacturer is talking about electric vehicles, and there's a huge skill gap which is being experienced by industry and the ecosystem which is handling this. So that's the role of a leadership, to envisage what is forthcoming and what kind of readiness does the organization have in accepting those challenges.
Ma'am, what kindled your interest in corporate governance?
I think corporate governance, having taken a leadership position as officiating director of ICAT and GRC, uh, I did I did feel that there is a need for very strong corporate governance in organizations to ensure that the fair ethical practices are formed. Corporate governance is not only for private sector but also for government sector also. How the organizations get run, how the fairness, ethics, all these components of good governance are instilled in the organization, what kind of policies you have, what kind of practices you have. So it's an area that it's very important. It's not only for the private sector, but it's equally important for government sector and autonomous bodies also.
Ma'am, as a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
The transparency of operation, decision making should be with consensus. You should hear, as a leader, one should be open to all kind of inputs for and against the proposal, and then a judgment to be based on the value of the proposal, which leads to the good corporate governance.
What are some changes you see in the corporate world with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, digital twin, big data, and Web 3.0?
This is something which is very new, and it is happening very fast. I mean, I don't think we are ready, both as organizations or as individuals, to accept and face this new turmoil, new technology, inclusion which is happening, be it AI, be it machine learning. Of course, there are a lot of apprehensions with respect to the jobs with these technologies, but then it also opens up new avenues of skills that need to be there. So we don't have skills to handle these technologies. These technologies, be it AI, be it IoT, the regulations has to be brought in place so that the practice is fair, ethical. So there's a lot which needs to happen in this field, although it's a very upcoming, very emerging field. But at the same time, you have to take very careful and cautious measures to ensure that good corporate governance happens, good practices happens, because as you are aware, that cybersecurity is a big threat. So it may happen on a smaller amount, it may on an account, or it can impair the organization's operations. So these are emerging areas of technology which needs to be addressed carefully. It needs to be regulated carefully and also adapted carefully.
Ma'am, we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
I would say, Tanay, that I have been observing this organization for last one and a half year, and have been trying to explore different organizations who impart such skills and trainings in this area. I found that Directors Institute has a very unique set of offerings for bringing out a good tasks and good learning tools and mechanism for areas of, be it ESG, be it digital directors program or this independent directors program. And the kind of expertise that you bring on board in your learning tools is also amazing. And I find that the quality of learning is very, very increased, enhanced, and involved. So that's very important. Yeah. Thanks. And you bring in very diverse group of people together. That experience sharing is also very, very great.
Great, ma'am. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will truly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much once again for joining us today, and wish you the best for your future endeavors, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tane, and thank you, Directors Institute, for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you.